Welcome to In the Community.
And once again, time for In the Community. This week got a lot to talk about. I'm here with Grayson. We've got Cody Buckner on board as well, a president of a big event coming up for cystic fibrosis. We are also joined by Beth Saladino, and Beth is the Associate Executive Director of the Virginia chapter of the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Welcome to the show, guys. It's great to have you this morning.
Thanks for having me.
And
thank you.
It's our pleasure. Where to start? First, let's go ahead and start with the event, Cody, because this is coming up, and this is to benefit. And this isn't the first year of this event. This has been around for a bit, and you're the expert. So let's talk about what's going on to benefit cystic fibrosis.
All right. So back in 2016, I started a car show called the 65 Roses Car, Truck, and Bike Show. It benefits cystic fibrosis. And I chose this event because I actually have CF myself. Wow. So that's where that came into play. I was raised at the drag strip. My dad drag raced for like 30 some years and unfortunately didn't want me to drag race. He said it was too dangerous. So I found a different route to go in order to try and bring some awareness and money towards research to benefit cystic fibrosis.
And let's talk specifically about cystic fibrosis, because I don't have a lot of knowledge. I know I had a teacher who was diagnosed with that years ago. And and this is to both of you, Beth and Cody, fill in some gaps here on what exactly is cystic fibrosis to someone listening that has no clue what we're talking about.
All right. So it's a mutated gene. And sometimes you can get two mutations of the same type, or you can get one mutation of a certain type and one mutation of a different type, and they go together and excuse me, it actually makes your body produce more mucus than what it can handle. So it clogs up like your lungs. It actually can affect your digestive system, and it can also affect your reproductive system as well.
And so it's genetic.
Yes.
And are you born with it, or is it something that's just always there, dormant, and then comes out later? And
oh no, you're born with it. But for me, I wasn't diagnosed till I was 9. Most people are diagnosed at birth.
Okay.
The doctors told me that I had chronic bronchitis for 9 years.
What?
Yeah. So a little bit later in life, it kind of affected me a little bit more than, catching it early, because there's stuff that you can do to try to help.
What kind of treatments are there or care that you can take to?
Well, when I was growing up, there were not a whole lot out there. I would sit attached to a breathing machine for about 30 to 45 minutes. And then after that, they call it chest PT or physical therapy. Mm-hmm. You have either, if you're in the hospital, you have a therapist come in, and it's almost like they call it chest percussion. People like kind of playing a drum, but it's on your back, your sides, and your chest to try to break the mucus up so you can get it out.
Wow.
So that's what I went through when I was younger. Now they have machines and stuff that kind of do that for you.
Okay.
And some other medications.
Do you still have to go get treatment constantly for this?
I haven't been in the hospital since 2019. And that was when one of the new medicines came out, which pretty much changed my life.
Really?
Yeah. I would cough probably every 3 to 5 seconds. Now I hardly cough at all. Where I work, they tell me sometimes they don't even realize I'm still there because, they can't hear me.
Wow.
But as far as daily activities and stuff like that, it's completely changed. I'd spend, a couple hours a day just doing breathing treatments and not doing much. Now everything's portable. All I have to do is my breathing treatments. I wear a vest that I can get up and walk around my house with for, a half hour and continue on without having to worry about sitting on a table for 2 hours at a time.
Yeah.
And even with these advances, with the machines you're talking about, with the drugs, they're still not a cure, correct?
No, there's no cure yet.
And that's one of the reasons that brings us to the event.
Correct.
To help raise money for that goal.
Yes.
And Beth, I want to come to you, and let's talk a little bit about the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Cody shedding light on what it is and helping us understand that. But what do we need to know about the foundation, what they do, and things like that?
Well, thank you. Cody has really teed it up wonderfully for me because he's sharing what makes our day a full day when we hear that people with CF are living these wonderful, wonderful lives. So the CF Foundation was actually started in 1955 by a group of parents who just wanted better care for their kids who at that time weren't even living to elementary school age.
Oh, wow.
I'm very excited to tell you that right now, for the first time, 61 years is the median life expectancy for someone born today with CF. Up about 20 years from 18 years ago, from 2 decades ago. So we're making incredible progress. And as Cody said, in 2019, we had a modulator come out, Trikafta, that really did change the horizon for many, many people with CF. But the mission of the CF Foundation is that there's a cure for all. And right now, there is no cure, and there's not even treatment for all of our people with CF. There are about 40,000 people in the United States with CF, about 840 in Virginia alone. 1 in 31 people is a carrier of the defective gene, so it's across all ethnicities. So we've got a lot of work to do to make sure that whole population is taken care of and that we're working towards a cure. We do spend a lot of money on research and therapies. We've got about 35 plus therapies currently in our drug development pipeline, and 14 of those are focused on genetic therapy and a cure. And the other thing that's super cool is our genetic work is going to help genetic diseases across the board. So while we're singularly focused on CF, our work is going to help many other diseases too. So it's good all the way around.
Yeah, and that's interesting because we see so much of that where something, a treatment, a protocol, a drug is developed toward one end, and the byproducts wind up helping, curing, and treating something that was never even anticipated.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Now, the kicker is this genetic therapy, the genetic cure, is so expensive, 10 times as expensive as what we've been spending so far. So we are really highly focused on fundraising. The foundation we have a wonderful venture philanthropy strategy in place. But that being said, we're investing close to $300 million a year in CF research and care. So that's why these events, like what Cody's doing, is wonderful because it just keeps feeding that pipeline to research and therapies.
Let's get back to the event. Let's get some specifics, Cody. The when, the where, what are people looking forward to? Let's paint that picture.
All right. So this year we actually moved to a new venue because we need more space, which this is the 3rd venue we've had now over.
Because it's been growing each time.
It's been getting bigger and bigger. So this year will be in the 9th year. It'll be at Spotsylvania High School on September 21st. Now, there is a day set aside in case weather decides to play its part like it did last year. And that'll be September 28th if that were to happen, but hopefully not. We do, I want to say it's like 10 or 11 different classes. So you have your classic cars, classic trucks, your hot rods, all your modern stuff. There's different classes broken down for everybody. So it's not just specific to one type. Now with that, we do a bunch of specialty awards like best paint, best engine, all sorts of stuff like that. And it's actually fun for the family. We have some bounce houses set up for kids so that, people can bring their kids and let them enjoy some time while they're out enjoying the vehicles. We also have 5 food trucks that will be there to serve food. And then just some raffle prizes, If you're going to come out and donate, let's just say $20. You spend $20 and raffle prizes because all that money gets donated to the CF Foundation. So why not, stick around and see if you can actually benefit and get yourself like a food gift card or some type of prize that we give away.
And what's the website for a lot of this info? And even looking ahead to next year for sponsorships.
We have a website. It's called the 65rosescarshow.com. They can go on there. If they have any questions, they can shoot us over an email. We can get back to them for next year. We do offer vendor spots, and if you want to bring your car out, and cost you $20 and your chance of an award. So
Perfect. That's what I was going to ask. So anybody can come, pay $20. They can set up their car, their bike, their truck, anything like that.
correct. But we only charge people to display a vehicle. So if you just want to come and look around, there's a separate parking lot in the back. You just park in spectator parking, and you can come enjoy the day and just hang out and observe. And
That's awesome.
And like you
Have
said,
fun.
there's something. It's a family day. There's stuff for all ages.
correct.
Yeah, and Beth, when we're talking about this kind of event, we're talking about getting involved. Are there other ways with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation that people can get involved, whether it's a volunteer type of thing, or how do people help out the cause? Because we hear those survival rates increasing and so much better than they were decades ago. What kind of things can people help out with the foundation, if there are such?
Oh, there absolutely are multiple ways to get involved, and it's such a good story. I think everybody should get involved because we're going to rewrite history. But one of the ways we have, the Virginia chapter hosts a variety of events all across the state, all throughout the year. And in Fredericksburg specifically, we have our Great Strides Walk in the spring. It's a family-based, community-based event. It is a fundraiser, but same kind of thing as Cody's event. Very family-friendly, usually outside in a local park, and hopefully the weather, we walk rain or shine, but that's our community grassroots event. We also have volunteer opportunities at that type of event as well as in the office. The Foundation also has a large advocacy wing. We're always looking for people to be our congressional captains and our voices on Capitol Hill. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, we have that also. And then we have brewers balls and galas throughout the state, too. You'd have to travel a little bit, but those are kind of higher-end events that are super fun and include a variety of breweries, wineries, and restaurants throughout the areas that they're held in. So, yeah, a lot of different ways. And like I said, it's a wonderful time to join us and help us, get to the finish line and beyond.
And I want to go to the title, The 65 Roses. When I did not know, and Grayson, I don't think you knew either.
No.
When we were talking about, okay, Cody's coming in, we're talking about 65 roses, we're talking about cystic fibrosis. Didn't realize what the 65 roses is until you walked in this morning.
Right. So Beth could probably give you the correct rundown. I tend to always screw it up because I always, mess up a couple little details. But she should be able to go ahead and tell you all the details about that.
It was one of the founding moms, Mary Weiss, who was making phone calls, and she had 3 sons with CF. So this is really early on in the 60s. And her 3-year-old or 4-year-old son overheard her on the phone, and when she hung up from her latest phone call, he said to her, "Mom, I know what you're doing. I know what you're asking for." And she was stunned because at that age, he didn't really understand that he had CF or what cystic fibrosis was. Mm-hmm. And he said to her, you're raising money for 65 roses instead of cystic fibrosis. He heard it as 65 roses.
Oh,
wow.
So that kind of became our thing. And little kids, if you hear them talking, it does sound like they're saying 65 roses instead of cystic fibrosis, which is a mouthful in itself. And so the rose kind of became our symbol, and the story, is told over and over again at our events and otherwise. So, yeah, that's how that all came to be.
And we were talking about it, 50 times we said it, and then we were told, hey, say it quicker. And we did, and it was like, okay,
we
65. Oh, now we get it. Yeah.
Wow.
That's a
good story.
Yeah, great story.
And a true story. Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
I like that. And Cody, let's get back to you. You were diagnosed at what age?
9.
At 9. And we've talked a little bit about either misdiagnosed or bronchitis.
Right.
Oftentimes was misdiagnosed. Is this something that? And you're also a dad.
Yes.
Is this something that parents listening this morning, listening to this right now as us talking, is that something that where you have your kids tested for if you know it runs in your family? Is there protocols here that we can shed light on?
So now it's, I want to say it's like a blood test. So both parents have to carry the gene, but most of the time when someone's pregnant, you can go ahead and have the blood drawn. The parents, the kid, they can test it all to find out if you're going to have it, or if your kid's going to have it. But fortunately, both parents have to be a carrier. So just like if the mom is a carrier and the dad's not, then there's no chance of getting it. You have, it's a recessive trait, so it has to come from both parents.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I will say I'm super proud that the foundation, has this advocacy wing that I talked about. And in 2012, we pushed through that newborn screening included CF in all 50 states. And now we're working to increase the amount of mutations that they test for, because as Cody mentioned, there are lots. There are over 1,800 mutations of CF. And right now, most states only test for about the 40 most common. And it's ethnicities, people of color, that get missed the most because they have the rarest mutations. So our advocacy wing is still pushing hard at the state level to increase the number of mutations that are screened for with the newborn screening.
So when you get...
The earlier we can catch it, the faster you can start treatment, and the healthier, you'll have longevity with earlier treatment.
So when you get tested, once the results come back in, and let's say they say, yes, you're positive for this gene, what's the next steps after that? How do you prepare for, a new baby that has CF?
Yeah, well, I am also, again, really proud to say that the foundation has over 130 accredited care centers across the United States. In Virginia, UVA has a pediatric and adult program. VCU has the same. Inova Fairfax is another accredited care center in Virginia. And then down in Hampton Roads, we've got CHKD in Portsmouth Naval. So there, you start in on a wonderful care center treatment plan. And because CF does affect the whole body, you're seen by a multitude of different disciplines. So not just one single doctor, but you see a pulmonologist, a geneticist, social worker, nutritionalist, and the list goes on. So you're seen by a whole team of caregivers. So it's great. It's very comprehensive. And while your visits to the care center can be kind of long, it's one-stop shopping because if you had to make all those individual appointments, excuse me, and go to all those different doctors, you'd never be able to be compliant. So they do it as one big giant visit. And they're long, but they're really comprehensive.
Yeah, I'd say roughly 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
For one appointment.
Wow. Wow.
But you're knocking it all out.
Right.
Like she said, it's a
Right.
one-stop shop. You don't have to bounce around and go to a bunch of different facilities.
Yeah, on different days and try to work that schedule.
Yeah.
Exactly. And imagine now over 60% of the people with CF are adults, and they're working and married and have families. So if you had to, keep making appointments to see, your endocrinologist or your pulmonologist, it would just be crazy. So we try and keep it as condensed as possible.
And I was going to ask Cody, as someone with cystic fibrosis, how that impacts your lifestyle, to what Beth was saying there, because I look at you and you look very athletic. It looks like you hit the gym. I mean, I wouldn't, I would never know. I guess is where I'm going with this.
So when I was younger, when I was a kid, right after I was diagnosed, I was pretty much kind of forced to quit all of the sports that I played. I played baseball, basketball. Since it went so long, my spleen got enlarged. So they were worried about if I were to ever, take a shot by accident or get hit in that spot, that it could rupture and then it would be fatal before I could ever, get any help. So I ended up taking up golf, which is not a contact sport. But after that, you know, I always try to be athletic, and I always like to do things. But you would have to kind of change around what you did in order to make it worth your while. I also had a feeding tube from I was 10 until I was 18.
Oh, wow.
Because we don't gain weight. You know, we take medicine for that too, but it didn't always work. You know, you can only save but so much of what you eat if your body can't break it down. Mm-hmm. But the new medicine that I had spoke about earlier in 2019, it's pretty much changed a lot of stuff in my body because that's what it targets to do. Mm-hmm. I've gained 50 pounds.
Oh, that's awesome.
In like 6 or 7 months.
Wow.
And then, you know, they say that the healthier you are, the usually, you know, you have a little more weight on you.
Right.
Because we were always underweight. Mm-hmm. So, and ever since then, it's just been totally different.
And this goes to the progress that's being made. Obviously, we talk about there's still no cure for cystic fibrosis, but the advancements and much of the credit of the foundation are making strides every day. Beth, do we know, you can't really talk about, there's a cure. We hope to have a cure in 5 years or 10 years. But I am curious, when you talk to the researchers, scientists, and so forth, the doctors, is there a guesstimate on when this might be curable?
You know, it's one of those things that you don't really want to put that number out there because it is such a hopeful thing. You know, you don't want to get people's hopes up too much.
Right.
You know, we are making incredible progress. We have innovative, responses to problems, but it'll be within our lifetime, within Cody's lifetime. I feel very confident in saying that. Mm-hmm. And, I don't have a really hard number on that.
Are there some resources and websites we should put out there for information for folks?
The Cystic Fibrosis Foundation has their own website. It's cff.org, mm-hmm. which gives you, all sorts of information about the actual foundation.
And then when we get toward the actual event, what does everybody need to know as far as, I know it's donations and so forth, but what do they need to know?
So there's really not any tickets in advance, okay. Because it's all donation based. The only way we would charge you is if you were to, bring your car out. So you just roll in the day of and say, hey, I'm here to, attend the event. We do offer pre-registration, but the only way to go about that is through Facebook or our website.
Okay.
Again, which is the 65rosescarshow.com. That way I can get all the details from whoever may be interested.
Excellent.
Get it written down, get them taken care of.
And Beth, is there another link you'd like to share?
Facebook and the CFF.org that Cody mentioned, that's perfect.
And we'll get links on our Facebook and on our website at WFLS.com to all of this as well. It's a great thing you're doing, and you've been doing now for a number of years.
Yeah, this will be the 9th year. Next year will be our 10th anniversary.
Ooh, wow. Well, let's make number 9 the best ever, and then let's make number 10 the best ever, and just keep going with it, right?
We're going to try.
Right on. Yay.
Cody Buckner with us this morning, and also Beth Saladino. I hope I'm not screwing up your last name. Did I get it right?
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
We appreciate your time so much, and we can't wait to see you at the event. We want it to be as hugely as successful as we can. And thanks for sharing all of that information with everybody this morning. I think it's amazing stuff, and we can't wait to have you back on the show.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thanks.
And again, you can link to a lot of this at WFLS.com as well if you missed any of that information. And remember, this is what In the Community is about here on this radio station. This is a great way to raise awareness on a cause if you're a nonprofit or a charitable organization and would like that time. We'd love to hear from you. You can reach out to this radio station through their website, and we'll see you next week on In the Community.